In this lesson, I want to teach you all about direct seeding. Direct seeding is exactly what it sounds like. It's taking seeds and putting them directly in the soil. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, just seed into the soil outside in the elements right away. Direct seeding is my favorite way to grow salad greens because number one, it's very simple. There's not a lot of complication of trying to start things indoors and have lights and heat mats and moving things right at the right time. You get to let nature do all the work for you. It's the way I first learned to grow salad, and if you're just getting started or you just want the simplest way, I highly recommend direct seeding. I also love it because it's super affordable. This whole package of seed with like hundreds and hundreds of seeds inside is probably just a few dollars, whereas if I ran to the store, just one plant would probably cost as much or more than this entire seed package. The third reason I really like direct seeding is because for most greens, it's actually their preferred way to grow. In fact, anytime you buy a packet of seed, I highly recommend reading the directions on the back, and you'll find that a good number of them, when it's giving directions about direct seeding or when to plant, it'll say start indoors. And a lot of greens will say not recommended. That's because most of these have a pretty short lifespan. And what will end up happening if you start them indoors and then move them out is you'll get premature bolting, meaning the plant will finish up its lifespan earlier than it would have if you had started it directly into the garden. So those are three reasons why I really love direct seeding and highly recommend doing it if it's at all possible for you. Now, here's a couple of parameters before you choose to direct seed. Number one, you want to make sure that you are matching your plants with the current season. You want to be growing in the optimal season to direct seed. So one of the reasons people love starting plants indoors, seeds indoors, is they get a jump start. They get to do something before it's optimal for it to happen outdoors. So if you're going to direct seed, you need to really check the temperatures and make sure that you're growing the plant the right plant for the right season. The next thing you want to do is make sure that you have your bed set up and ready to grow. So you want to have cleared your space, making sure that there's plenty of room. A lot of times if you are direct seeding, you want to make sure that there's not shade coming into the bed from other plants that have been in the garden or being planted simultaneously. So you want to make sure the conditions temperature-wise are great, but also that your garden is well set up. So you've just amended the soil, you've got great compost ready to plant, you've got it nice and leveled, everything's watered and ready to plant. The third thing you want to do is be super careful about your seed dispersion. So we're going to talk, I've got a couple of tools to show you, but one of the biggest challenges when you do direct seed is not over planting. So almost all salad seeds are super tiny. So when you just open up the package and start to plant, you're often going to end up with a situation where you have way too many seeds in one place. So that means you're going to have to come back and thin. And if you don't thin, then you might end up with less than optimal growth. So we're going to talk about a few tools you can use to direct seed, and then we're going to get into direct seeding this spinach. So in this lesson, I'm going to be planting Abundant Bloomsdale spinach. This one is actually from Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. I love Abundant Bloomsdale, and I especially love long-standing Bloomsdale spinach. So if I read the directions, it says direct sow in spring as soon as the ground can be worked. Plant successions every 2 weeks. Mulch. For fall and winter greens, direct sow 1 month before first frost. Sow thickly if grasshoppers are a problem. Heat can kill the seedlings, so wait for cool weather. Frost sweeten the flavor. Some varieties can tolerate 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can protect with mulch and row cover as necessary. So I know that I'm in the right season. I'm growing spinach. I'm in the fall right now. We're entering the cool season where I live, where the high temperatures are maxing out at around 75 degrees. And our low temperatures aren't quite at frost, and we are probably actually just a month outside of our first frost right now. So I am 100% following the rules. I also plant spinach right as soon as the soil can be worked, even when there's chance of frost in the spring. So I planted spinach in this very bed in the spring season earlier this year. All right, so I've got my spinach seeds, and I'm going to show you a few ways that you can be sure you give them the proper spacing. Now, if I wanted to harvest small, tiny little spinach leaves and not large, big ones, letting them grow to their full size, then I could really plant my spinach at about 1 inch apart. So 1 to 2 inches apart would be totally fine if I wanted to be harvesting the leaves pretty small. If I want to be growing my plants more to the fullest size, I want to space them more like 3 to 4 inches apart. So all the seeds would want to be going 3 to 4 inches from one another. So I can use this ruler. This is one simple way I can do it, is literally just lay this out on the ground, on the soil. Now I'm going to use my plate method and decide I'm basically going to be planting my spinach as a medium size. So let me grab my medium plate. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to be planting this as a small, as my small plant. I'm going to be using my teacup saucer size. So this is basically the size I want each of my spinach plants to grow to. So I can tell from here using my ruler that I really want them to be probably, here would be at the 10-inch mark, and then here would be at the 4-inch mark. So I think that's about right. Maybe the 3-inch mark. So I want to have basically 2 plants all along the center of the garden. I'm going to have other things growing on either side of the spinach. So I'm going to take my seeds, so I could just take this and go along the garden in that way. Another tool that I love using is this little dibber. So it's got 4 little dibber spikes in it. And if I line this up with my ruler, I can tell that these are all about 2 inches apart. So that would be really nice to use if I wanted to grow the spinach to be smaller greens. Another thing I can use to separate my seeds out for direct sowing is a spice shaker. So you can just buy these. You know, I bought this, I think, at Williams-Sonoma, but you just buy a spice shaker. I'm not going to be able to open it up now. Open up the top, and then you can put your seeds down into the spice shaker. When you do this, then it enables you to spread these out. So you would use this method if you wanted to really grow the greens in a more kind of wild, small method, because it's just going to shake them out a little bit like that at a time. So it's not going to be nice in rows and, you know, super neat, but it'll give you a wide dispersion of the seeds, and they'll keep them from being too close together. So that's another option, is using a seed shaker. Another option when you're direct seeding is using one of these seed dispersers. So this is less about how far away. You'd have to mark your spaces of where you want to plant the seed. But what this is meant to do is to only let one seed come out at a time. So you could put some spinach seeds in here, and then you pick the width, basically the diameter of the seed. So I think this is probably a 1. So you just gently shake, and you can see how it just lets one seed travel down at a time. So if you were doing like a row of seeds, you could just come along, shake this, and let one seed fall at a time down the row. That's an option. And then we also have this thing that looks kind of like a shot. So same idea, but a little bit easier to control. So again, you just pop the top off, slide your seeds down in here, put the top on, and then fill it with the seeds. Might be a little hard to pick up on the camera. And then you're just, again, going to come down, and you're supposed to be able to drop one seed at a time, in theory. Looks like I'm dropping more like 2 seeds at a time. So a little bit harder to control, but that is another option. And then finally, one of my favorite methods, honestly, is just using a dibber. So we have these dibbers. I collect dibbers, kind of my hobby. So I have these wooden dibbers, and then I also have this metal dibber. And these can be used to provide a little bit of indentation where the seed is going to go, and just allows you to make sure that you're just getting one seed in each space. So those are a few simple tools that you can use to plant out your seeds when you're direct seeding, because it's super important to make sure those seeds don't end up too close together. So in this case, what I am actually going to do is I'm going to use my, my ruler, and then I'm going to use my little seed disperser here and try to get just one seed into each hole. So I'll line this up like this, remembering that I do not want, I don't want to plant the sides. I'm only going to plant right down the center. So I'm going to use my little seed disperser. Oh, that didn't work, did it? We'll see if this works. This is going to be funny if it like fails. Okay, there, that one worked. So I'm going to do one at 6. I know I said just 2, but I think I'm going to do 3. So I'm going to do one at 6, 3, and 9. So that'll give me 3 plants across that are 3 inches a piece, right? So then I'm going to go to the next level. Again, I'm leaving them all there. I'm going to go one width of the ruler, and then I can do it again. So actually I'm going to go 3 widths of the ruler. That'll be 3 inches. And then I can come back and I can do the interval for planting too. Well, guys, my little trick isn't so tricky. Or actually it is tricky, that's the problem. All right, so that's not working for me. So I think what I'm gonna do is just take the seeds, and we'll just see if my fingers can do it with the help of the ruler. So I'm gonna go 3, 6, 9. Then again, I'm gonna go 3 ruler widths apart and do it again. So, and actually I need to level this out. So you definitely wanna be making sure your soil is level as you go so that you don't end up with the seeds sliding down when there's rain. All right, so I've got 3 or 4 rows there. So I can go back, line my ruler back up here and go this direction, and I can end up with an entire row of my seeds planted this way. Now, like I said, I can either do it now or I can wait and do succession planting. If you heard in the directions, I can come back and plant at the interval. So I could basically take my ruler and slide it over and plant at the in-between in a week or 2. And that way I'll have these coming up, and then a couple weeks later, I'll have the next set of spinach coming up afterwards. So that is direct seeding. So remembering, number 1, why it's so great. It's one of the most affordable. It's one of the easiest, and it's also what most salad plants prefer. The second reason, the second part of it is making sure you're planting in the optimal time, that you've got your bed well set up, that the temperatures are right for the seeds that you're planting, and that you're all set to go. And then taking time to make sure when you plant your seeds that you use these tools, or just take your time to space out those seeds so that they get settled in just the right way right from the start. So that, my friend, is direct seeding. I hope this inspires you with how simple it can be to literally just take seeds, put them right into the garden, and start growing right away. As soon as I get these planted, I am going to just, again, come in and pat the seeds to make sure that they've got good soil contact. And then I can come in with a little bit of extra compost and just lightly sprinkle on top. Always remembering to pay attention to the directions, which say that they really only need to be sowed at a depth of 1/2 inch. So I'll just sprinkle a little bit of compost on top, spray these down with a little bit of water, making sure they stay wet as they start to grow. And I should have spinach coming up in a very short amount of time. In fact, the days to emerge are 7 to 12. So I'm just about a week away from starting to see spinach come up out of the soil. Pretty awesome. I hope you feel inspired to direct seed your plants. I can't wait to see what you grow from seed in your own salad garden. Thanks for watching.